Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Sangeeta Mehta and you're watching my channel, My English Magazine. Today I explain to you MA English 4th semester syllabus paper F.R. Lewis. Concept of great tradition. What is in this? Now I explain to you. F.R. Lewis, The Great Tradition, 1948. An uncompromising critical and polemical survey of English fiction. Controversially begins thus the great English novelists are Jane Austen, George Eliot, Henry James, and Joseph Conrad. He regards these writers as the best because they not only change the possibilities of art for practitioners and readers, but also promote an awareness of the possibilities of life. The book embodies Lewis' characteristically new critical austere rejection of styles of fiction that he found faking. He found lacking in moral intensity, a clear reaction to an age characterized by the ideology is of facing and communism. The book was well appreciated by George Orwell, though many critics attacked Lewis for his extremely limited idea of art enhancing vision, especially is that he allows no space for the comic, the grotesque, and the carnivalesque, believing that the role of English department was to maintain cultural continuity. Lewis was actively involved in the campaign for the professionalization of literary studies in the 1930s. Lewis is believed that the role of literature is life is to confer a sense of significance to our continued existence and to question our habitual judgment, and great literature thus both emphasizing that a critic sustains the living principle, the tradition. He compared the critic to a wheelwright that draw on the skill of England, and held that so does a critic exhibit more than just individual taste. Thus, echoing Arnold's views of a critic who upholds the best that was known and thought in the world, and T.S. Eliot's ideas as encapsulated in the 1990 essay Tradition and the Individual Talent, being uncomfortable with the idea of plurality and multiplicity of meaning that is central to postmodernism. Lewis believed that a literary work had a comparative rather than an inherent value which helps it carve a niche for itself in tradition. Following Arnold's touchstone method, the endorsed that the purpose of evaluating literature is to keep alive the tradition. This is the Levi's advertisement. Now, what is the essay? According to Great Tradition, the Great Tradition 1948, Levi's seeks to establish an order of importance and excellence in the novel in the manner of Arnold and Eliot. In doing so, he makes the common sense appeal that literature must be judged as an expression of life seen as a complex ethical reality. Like Johnson and Arnold before, and like all these writers and Mrs. Levi's, he makes a self-discipline and maturity the indispensable ingredients of good writing. Consequently, he agreed with his wife to put Jane Austen rather than a more obviously romantic novelist at the head of the tradition. But paradoxically, he judged the 18th century novel to be at best important historically, but not great. The Levises, being teachers, intended this book to provide the university undergraduate the Great Tradition had upon its appearance the great Johnsonian virtue of stirring debate on the novel. Johnson hoped in the preface to Shakespeare that what I have here, not dogmatically but deliberately written, may recall the principles of the drama to a new examination. Whatever the limitations of his book, and however readers choose to describe the manners of his writing, Lewis recalled readers to a new examination of the novel. He begins his book with a handsome tribute to his wife. My sense of my immeasurable indebtedness in every page of this book to my wife cannot be adequately expressed. As in Revolution, so in the Great Tradition, Lewis declares his aim to make essential discriminations both in the English novel at large and among the works of his great novelist. Lewis stresses energy as a chief quality in his great novelist. They are all distinguished by a vital capacity for experience. He saves and he speaks more than once of his energy, of a vision that relate Conrad to Dickens. However admirable the pursuit of beauty and form and style, an addition art, to often mask an inner horrors of human significance. Lewis feels citing Flaubert, George Moore. Similarly, Lois elaborate analogical structure represent a dead end. In emphasizing life as the subject matter of great art, Lewis does not ignore aesthetic considerations. Rather, he insists that in the great novelist or poet, the subject matter determines the form of text. The vision defines the art that expresses. Lewis finds it relatively easy to link Jane Austen, George Eliot, and Henry James on the basis, but he has more trouble with Conrad. The Middlemarch, he indicates an essential affinity between George Eliot and Jane Austen in the similar use of irony in expressing a moral interest in life. But more important, he adds, is the difference between them in the individual use to which they put their irony. Consequently, he makes his most convincing because most detailed illustrations of tradition and illustration of in-depthness. Moreover, he does so seeming to grant of the laurels to George Eliot and a few to James. However, he goes on in the following chapter to stress James' originally and so unlikeness to George Eliot. He finds that James' brilliance in dramatic presentation derives from George Eliot, but the creative wealth of the portrait of a lady is all distinctly Jamesian and Madame Marley. So, in this way, guys, I explained to you about the Lewis essay. So now, I explained to you more about Lewis. However, it is undeniable that in excluding Emily Bronte and Dickens, Lewis narrowed and weakened his great tradition, for apart from anything else, he left out the two most significant English precursors of Conrad. So, in the last, now, I explain Lewis as to question why Lewis did not make Dickens full member of the great tradition. At the earlier time, he has himself supplied the good, if astonishing, reason that he had not reread Dickens novelist, and paradoxically It may, after all, have been fortunate that he had not done so, for we may believe that with Mrs. Lavis' major contribution, Dickens, the novelist, gives a far more compelling and more rounded account of Dickens' genius than Lavis could have given on the own in the great tradition. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for watching my channel, My English Magazine. Thank you. Thank you.